All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Please let me know if the audio is okay. I think it is. I always got to check in with you guys because I never know. So here we are at the new time of noon, and maybe everybody forgot I was going to change the time to noon today, but for now, this is the new time of the show, 12 p.m. Pacific, and gonna try to make some other changes as well, y'all. I'm really over YouTube, and I really want to make a concerted effort to transfer this show over to some platforms that are a bit freer for the dissemination of information, and also just platforms that just support less censorship and support people who are wanting to keep, the idea of freedom of speech and freedom of expression alive. I don't really quite know in what way I'm going to do that for sure, but I think one of the things I'm thinking about doing is doing like one stream on YouTube a week, maybe Mondays, and then probably the rest of the week I'll do a stream on other platforms. So I want to get people kind of used to that kind of idea. And of course, it takes people a little time to get into it. So I'm gonna try to ease people into it, and not slam you with a big change, because I know it takes time for people to get accustomed to change. But what I'm thinking about doing is doing like a Monday YouTube, and the rest of the week doing like streaming to like Patreon and Substack, something like that. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't really sat down and mapped out how I'm going to do it. But anyways, that might be, or maybe Monday YouTube, and the rest of the week we'll do Rockfin and Rumble. I don't, Rockfin and Rumble, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that'll be the way it goes. YouTube took down one of my videos from last week. Probably because I was saying something like super helpful about how the medical industry is lying to you, and with the help of YouTube, right? Because it is a corporate. Yeah, sure. The government has an interest in censoring you, but it is in the employ of it's a public-private partnership of censorship. And so, I really kind of want to make a move to some different platforms, and maybe even different ways that I disseminate information. I'd like to do maybe some more articles, maybe some different short form investigative videos, stuff like that. Anyways, I know you all love the community of the live stream. However, I think changes need to be made. Anyways, I have a new song out. It's on, you can watch it on YouTube, on my Kevin Sandbloom YouTube, or you can go to Bandcamp and listen to it. Put it out over the weekend, so if y'all are into that. Apparently nobody got the message that I've switched times today. Or maybe everybody's doing stuff. Anyways, it's the holidays. Heading into the holidays, but here's a link. Build a diorama. Yeah, maybe. Thanks, Malcolm. Yeah. Anyways, so to reiterate, for maybe anybody who might be confused, this is the new time of the show. It's noon, 12 p.m. Pacific. So it's an hour later than we have been doing. And we'll do it like that for now, and I'll let you know about the other changes that are going to be coming up soon. But let's get into it. There is news. From extreme temperatures around the world, one of the most insane weather events in the whole of climatic history, or at least our climatic history. Um, 31°C at night in the Canary Islands, and overnight minimum of 29.6. Puerto de la Cruz is the hottest December night ever recorded in the whole northern hemisphere. It beat Bangkok. Crazy. If you're not sure about whether the Earth is getting warmer or not, I'm going to drop some of these links into the Telegram. That's a good place to hang out when the show is not happening, outside of the show, and also if you want to pass links and talk about things with people, t.me/BlackBearNewsChat is the Telegram group. You can go there, and it's free speech and free ideas there. So, we're talking about all kinds of things. Also, you can follow me at Black Bear News, the number 1 on Twitter. That's also a good place to hang out, even though I'm highly censored there. Not so much on Telegram. Telegram is free. So as far as I can tell, and so far I can see, free exchange of ideas. Oh, all right, Malcolm. Thanks. All right. Cyclone Chido also whacked Far East. Massive devastation. Once again, this is due to climate change. So, I know people like to cherry pick what events are caused by HARP and what aren't, but these things are going on even when you're not focusing on an event that's like, well, surely they made this hurricane cyclone bigger. Well, what about these cyclones and these hurricanes over here that whacked a bunch of people, and you just didn't even, it just passed you on by and you just didn't even talk about it. Okay. We are going to talk about the drones for sure. This is the French Indian Ocean. Residents of Mayotte have spoken of apocalyptic scenes caused by the worst storm in 90 years to hit the French Indian Ocean territory. Cyclone Chido brought wind speeds of more than 225 kilometers, flattening areas where the poorest lived in sheet metal roof shacks. We've had no water for 3 days now, said one resident of the capital city of Mamoudzou. Some of my neighbors are hungry and thirsty. Another one said rescue workers, including reinforcements from France, are coming through the debris searching for survivors. 20 people have been confirmed dead, but the local prefect said it could be thousands. Authorities said they were having difficulty establishing the number of deaths due to the large number of undocumented migrants in a population of 320,000. Supplies have begun to arrive, but there are severe shortages of food, water, and shelter in certain areas. The water here is completely yellow. It's unusable for us, said one person to the BBC. Just absolute and utter devastation. Yeah, you did know, and The Rock. Yes, absolutely windy to least 31 degrees Celsius is an average monthly low temperature, which has arguably happened in July in some tiny Persian Gulf islands, is too hot for year-round human habitation. Yeah. Yep. What's up, people of Rockfin? Hello, Denver, William. Others that are watching on Rockfin, welcome. I will reiterate. I'm sorry. I'll reiterate several times today. This is the new time of the show. It's 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time, whichever one we're observing, but Pacific Time. All right, we're going to talk about some drones. And one of the leading theories right now is that they're looking for lost or stolen nuclear material or nuclear weapons. Malcolm Young, that's probably the lost art of biochar, right? They could flush that water through biochar and drink it. Oh, should be put on the list of things people can do to prepare for the future, prepare for a different climate. Oh yeah, I'm sure they want to do that, Denver. I feel like all of these things and we'll call them psyops. All the psyops that are happening are intended to usher in ultimate surveillance and control of people, basically creating what they've already started to have in China, but what they're testing out in Israel as far as like biometric concentration camps. Basically, we'll all live in outdoor prisons. Is the intention. But an interesting link. I'll try and look at it. I got a few things I want to cover, and time is already speeding by. Well, so yeah, one of the leading theories about the drones is that they're ours. They're part of Space Force. I've said as much over the last week or so. My theory is that they're ours and they're there for some kind of psyop. However, there are multiple theories. U.S. nuclear regulatory. This is from the Gateway Pundit. I don't know. They're saying they've confirmed a report, or released a report confirming radioactive materials lost in transit. So this seems to be like, I guess I might have to check this story. U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission has confirmed that radioactive material was lost in transit earlier this month, heightening fears about public safety and sparking theories about mysterious drone activity in New Jersey. Officer Liu, a prominent political commentator, highlighted the NRC's event report during a review of regulatory alerts. While looking at Nuclear Regulatory Commission alerts, I can confirm that there is radioactive material that has gone missing on December 2nd, 2024, out of New Jersey, which would explain the location. Missing material identified as GE68 pin source manufactured by Eckert and Ziegler was reported lost by its licensee on December 3rd. Wow. Shipped for disposal, the container arrived at its destination severely damaged and empty. Okay. According to the NRC's report, the radioactive source, while classified as less than IAEA Category 3, still poses potential risks if mishandled or exposed for prolonged periods. According to the report, agreement state report, source lost in transit. I said I was. Yeah, if it's a search, it's not systematic. Just says Judy Truitt. I think there's multiple layers of what they're doing. Kind of as with every PSYOP, that there's multiple vectors that they're trying to push. Same with the Luigi story. There are multiple vectors. Denver, you don't trust the claims of nuke material. Well, neither does this other person who I'm gonna read an article from Substack from someone else that doesn't believe that story either. Yes, power grab legislation the incoming admin wants. Yes. And that is also, well, same with the Luigi story is all about that too. About well, several things going on there. Anyways, so this is what they're telling us is happening. So let's look at this post from Substack. I want to read through it. It's interesting. Hopefully not too long. This is from Steve Skojek. Why I don't believe the drones are looking for nuclear or bioweapons. And I thought, I read this morning and I thought this is interesting. So a funny thing has been happening with the drone story. None of the official stories make sense. Local elected officials and law enforcement are saying it's a real serious problem. Police say the drones don't emit heat signatures and easily evade their own industrial grade interceptor drones. Okay. Multiple sensitive military sites have gotten overflights. Picatinny Arsenal has confirmed at least 11 sightings. Naval Weapons Station Earl had to deactivate their de-droning equipment. Wright-Patterson is the latest to report overflights, which has its own special significance in UAP lore. Last night, Wright-Patterson actually had to close their airspace because of the amount of UAS activity. UAS equals unmanned aerial system over the base. The FBI says they're investigating and they're stumped. And that part doesn't wash. the we don't know what's going on part doesn't really wash. Really, your message is getting changed, Salt Lickers? Well, this is why I want to kind of want to retire YouTube, or at least minimize my exposure to YouTube and everyone else's exposure to YouTube. Okay, part of the reason we're gonna all go elsewhere together. Okay. Police in New Jersey say the drones give off no heat signature and go stealth when they try to get near them. One officer said he saw 50 of the drones coming off the water. Sorry.
Hi, Elizabeth. Well, I got to be honest here. You know, when this story first came out a few weeks ago, as a resident of New Jersey, as a journalist, I didn't pay it much credence. I thought it would turn out to be a bunch of pranksters and this would all be over by now. The experience I had last night, however, changed the way I feel about this story completely. What I saw was more sophisticated than I ever imagined. Take a look.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 lights, 6 lights.
I didn't believe what I was seeing. But what was I seeing? We're here in central Jersey. We've been looking for the past hour. I think we've seen about 40 or 50 of these drones. In fact, there's one over my shoulder right there. One after another, these drones appeared in the night sky. If you look real close, they look like fixed-wing aircraft, about 8 to 10 feet wide, colorful, white blinking lights.
That is not a plane.
Definitely not an airplane, but what was it? Hours earlier, I was invited to join the Ocean County Sheriff Department. They launched their own drones to see if they could intercept the mysterious aircraft New Jersey residents have been reporting in recent weeks. The department says these mystery drones evade detection because they don't give off heat like regular drones. Why do you think that is?
We don't know. It's just something that we haven't, it's not something that we've had our hands on. It's not something that we've experienced.
Something they hadn't experienced until now.
All right. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep reading. The Pentagon has said they don't know who is responsible and are frustrated by the activity. Also claim that the drones are not U.S. military and are not believed to be from any foreign entity or adversary, but they've also said they see no reason to believe they're a public threat, which makes no sense. How can you know they're not a threat if you don't know whose they are and what they're doing? Right. Meanwhile, the White House offers a gigantic shrug and condescending dismissal of the whole affair.
I just want to add a few comments on the reports of drone activity here on the East Coast, particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said, we certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports, even though they have uncovered no malicious activity or intent at this point.
Okay. If you believe that. All right, let's keep going. Meanwhile, what appears to be a disinformation campaign continues apace. I started with Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey giving Fox News the real deal on December 11th, telling them that very high sources said that Iran launched a mothership that is launching drones off the east coast of America. That's ridiculous. The second that narrative hit the airways, it spread like wildfire. And who do you think might be interested in spreading that narrative? What entity might be interested in that one going out? Yes, Hempcar, I agree with you, and I've said the same. I think that they're trying to get people used to this kind of activity and kind of accept it as normal and regular. At least that's one of the things they're doing with this psyop. They're doing many, of course. Okay. The second that narrative hit the airways, it spread like wildfire. Every other person responding to posts about this that day was bringing it up like it was the gospel. The same day, the Pentagon slammed that theory in no uncertain terms, but then a new narrative arose on December 14th. An X account under the username Jersey Futures, okay, which I saved. I did save all these posts from this Jersey Futures account, and this is, I'm not going to show them to you. Basically, he's saying that this is the first this is the first story coming out about how they're looking. They're drones. There are drones, and they're looking for nuclear materials. Anyways, Jersey Futures was an account that was deleted, was cited by a modestly sized account called Red Hat, 6,300 followers that got 16 million views and went viral. The screenshots from the no longer active Jersey Futures account claim that the drones were American-made HPGE nuclear detector drones that were part of a stockpile the U.S. had been saving up for a while. They look weird because they're heavy and have giant cryo coolers mounted and giant horn antennas to communicate on wave frequencies or millimeter wave frequencies that can't be jammed, it said. The person claimed that the tech used in these drones utilized high purity germanium, which are the backbone of my industry. So what are they doing? Jersey Futures asked, collecting information and how the public will react, PSYOP, and testing their ability to sweep a port like New York for dirty bombs. That story got traction. People started speculating that the drones were U.S. government tech that was sweeping the area for nuclear or biological materials. Some speculated they could be missing warheads from Ukraine, which gave up its old Soviet warheads decades ago. It sounded good, and it kept spreading. And then came this guy, John Ferguson, CEO of Saxon Aerospace in Wichita, Kansas. Have you guys all seen this video? Saxon makes military-grade unmanned aircraft, and he put forward his own version of the same theory. Summary below if you don't care to watch. Basically, he shared his theory that the mysterious drones that we're seeing flying at night, particularly over the East Coast and alongside the Interstate 70 corridor. As an expert, Interstate 70 is in the middle of the country. As an expert in unmanned military-grade aircraft, he believes these drones are not nefarious, but are likely conducting intelligence, surveillance, or reconnaissance missions, specifically using sensors to detect radioactive material or gas leaks. He connects this to missing nuclear warheads from Ukraine in the 1980s, of which one was reportedly heading to the U.S., though no government action was taken to address the warning. Ferguson dismisses the idea that these drones originate from the ocean and argues that their low-altitude nighttime flights are likely targeted efforts to smell for something critical. Okay, that's weird. What I was going to say is, have you guys seen the Netflix movie Carry On? I watched that movie. It's pretty, it's cool. But when I watched that movie, I was like, oh my God, is this another white noise seeding of a psyop or seeding of a narrative movie? Remember when White Noise came out? White Noise came out a couple months prior to the train derailment in Palestine, Ohio, East Palestine. And then that train derailment happened, and everybody was like, "Hold on, why did this movie? This movie was based in Ohio, and basically included, the kind of disaster that literally happened in real time, in real life, is what I meant to say. A few, literally months after this movie came out. So, yeah, smelling for nukes. So I watched this movie, Carry On, which is about. So part of some of this narrative around the missing nukes or nuke material, people have been saying something is going to happen on Christmas Eve or something. This movie is based. It happens on Christmas Eve, and it's about somebody sending like a nerve agent onto a plane. Anyways, I was like, I smell something weird. I smell something weird about the timing of this movie coming out and what's happening, and then all this drone stuff happening. It's just that actually got my spidey senses going a little bit there. Yes, Gene, they are going out of their way to say they're harmless, and like, oh, so if they're harmless, what are they doing? Why not let us know what they're doing? What's happening? It is. Anyways, we're gonna keep going. Anyways, this guy's video got retweeted by Joe Rogan, who said this is the first video about the drones that has got me genuinely concerned. Again, talking about missing nuclear material. I have sent this video approximately. I have been sent this video the exact number of times, so I want to address it. He says 12.8 million views. He says he got the video 12.8 million times. So I want to address it. I recorded my own middle-aged white guy video last night, and yeah, I left the shower running for 5 minutes because I have ADHD and decided to film this before I got in because I knew I wouldn't do it after. So don't give me a hard time. Let's listen.
Hey there, party people. Well, I just got back from another late night working, and I wanted to address a couple of things really quick because I'm getting a ton of replies on this, before I hit the showers. Number one, I know that everybody's talking about this theory that the drones are out there looking for nuclear materials, looking for dirty bomb materials, looking for whatever, that these are our drones. Maybe they belong to the Department of Energy. They're flying around. They're looking for some kind of dangerous material that could pose a threat to the American public, and this is why they're not telling us. Here's why I think that doesn't make sense. First and foremost, if these were ours, and the reason that they weren't telling the public was because they wanted to avoid a panic, then the Pentagon would have a cover story. In fact, they've never in the history of the Pentagon failed to have a cover story for any kind of domestic activity that's going on. They lie proficiently, but they lie efficiently. They make sure that the public feels at ease with whatever it is that they're doing, even if it's complete and total bullshit. So from Roswell and their fake crash debris that everybody who was involved in that later said that the Pentagon put them up to now, whether it's a training exercise, whatever it is that they say, the Pentagon always has a cover story when they are doing something. And for whatever reason, probably because they don't have control of the situation and they don't know how to put a timeline on it, they have not done so in this case. Because if they knew when this was going to end, even if it wasn't them, they could be like, it's going to last a couple more weeks and then it's going to be over. They don't know what's going on, and that's why they don't have a story, because that story is going to have holes. Number one. Number two, I don't know if anybody's even thought about the number of drones that have to be in the air right now for people to be seeing these over a huge geographic area. They're over New York, they're over Massachusetts, they're over Maryland, they're over Pennsylvania, they're over New Jersey. They're showing up in other states as well, but just on the eastern seaboard, people are seeing them across states that cover hundreds and hundreds of miles. They're seeing them in clusters. They're not just seeing one, they're seeing minimum of 2, up to like 7 drones at a time, sometimes more. There have got to be thousands of these things in the air in order for that many people to be seeing them across such a broad geographic area. I'm assuming hundreds at least, maybe thousands. That doesn't really make sense. Like, do we have that many drones that can be deployed to look for nuclear materials? I'm not really sure. Number 3, we have been told by sworn officers of the law that these things are coming from the ocean, that at least 50 of them were seen coming in off the coast from the ocean to the mainland. What's up with that? Number 4, there are reports of inland drones. Like somebody that I know, who I've followed on Twitter for years, says her sister in western North Carolina, not quite to where the Hurricane Helene damage was, but middle to west, woke up at 4 a.m. today to the lights of a drone, a huge car-sized drone in her backyard between her house and her horse barn. And it was hovering just above the ground. Why? Who knows? What are they doing this far inland? Where are they coming from? What are they looking for on somebody's rural property? Nobody knows. So this is why I don't believe this story. I don't think it's plausible. I think it's kind of ridiculous. And that's really all I wanted to say for tonight. There was some other stuff I wanted to address. People.
All right, we'll end it there. Or at least end that video there. In the video, though, he says, like, do we have that many drones? remember that I've been saying for the last 2 years that somewhere in a warehouse in the Midwest, somewhere in a warehouse in China, somewhere in a warehouse in South America, they're building thousands and thousands and thousands of drones as quickly as they possibly can. What's the purpose? To spring them on us when they're ready to lock everybody down for whatever reason it is, right? Oh, there's some threat, whatever the threat is. It doesn't really matter what the threat is. It just has to be a plausible enough threat for them to go, well, we're going to, it's martial law time. We're shutting things down. It's time, it's time to lock everybody in their houses again, but for another reason, right? And maybe indefinitely. That's what these drones are about. That's my theory. That's my theory. I hope that I'm wrong, because that would really suck. I've been saying for the last 2 years, somewhere in a warehouse, they're building thousands and thousands and thousands of those robot dogs, thousands and thousands of humanoid robots, thousands and thousands of drones, and they are waiting to create a moment in which they can just deploy these things everywhere and have people scared shitless or whatever. Right? And have things in place that would make it possible for them to be like, you're not leaving. You're not leaving the city. You're not leaving your block. You're not leaving your house. That's my theory. I hope I'm wrong. I don't know. Let's keep reading a little bit, though. The random video that I decided to make at 11 at night now has 1.6 million views. People are so hungry for answers. Others have begun to echo my thoughts that this nuclear search narrative is a ruse. Ryan Graves, former FA-18 pilot who has been advocating for transparency about the frequency of UAP experiences by military pilots, said this yesterday. I've spoken with sources inside the government who would be responsible for responding to potential nuclear threats within the U.S. I have high confidence the drone issue is unrelated to nuclear threat. Ross Colhart, investigative journalist who wrote In Plain Sight, held that first public interview with the Pentagon UFO whistleblower David Grush, and now hosts Reality Check on News Nation, says the same thing. Jess Michaels of American Alchemy actually went there and laid it all out today. We're in weird territory when a nuclear threat is the psyop. This loose nuke narrative is fake. It's a clean story, but whatever is actually happening is probably weirder and less simple. Many of the fixed-wing drones with red and green lights are likely man-made. orbs and other UAVs around sensitive nuclear sites. And that's the other thing. The orbs are weird. I don't know what the orbs are. Many of the fixed-wing drones with red and light are likely man-made. Orbs and other UAVs around sensitive nuclear sites and Air Force bases across the United States. That sounds remarkably like the 167 historical cases of on-record witnesses documented by Robert Hastings in his great book, UFOs and the Nukes. These flying objects often shut down our most advanced weaponry. Vandenberg, 64, Malmstrom, 67. F.E. Warren, 2010. I don't know what that is. If any true UFOs are out there, are here, it would make complete sense that you get a mix of human drones alongside them. What's the prosaic explanation for these non-fixed wing orbs? And more exotic-looking, impossible to fend off high electromagnetism drones flying with impunity around our sensitive military installations. High-powered lasers, plasma balls, classified American tech that we're using to red team or troll our most intensely locked down military sites, and that's somehow also happening around the world. I have no idea what these are and why they're here, but maybe we should start thinking about those questions given where humanity is right now. No one should worship them Project Bluebeam style, something no one is pushing besides the likes of Billy Carson. We should use the presence of these things to do a hard audit of ourselves and our world, which is very on the brink. The whole saga may stay inconclusive for a while, but when contact does happen, so they they're saying, well, maybe it's actually UFOs. I don't know. I don't think so. Grace says you have an orb on your channel. You caught it in 2020. Could the orbs be actual extraterrestrials? Could the orbs be holograms? They could be holograms. They kind of look like holograms, if you ask me. When I see the orb things, I'm like, that looks like a hologram to me. I don't know. And remember, Project Bluebeam is around creating like a hologram alien invasion or something. Anyways. So he goes on to talk about containment narratives. So all these narratives are just here to kind of hold the story in place. This morning, Trump weighed in. He says the government knows what's going on and for some reason is refusing to tell us.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey ports? It seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Will you shoot them down?
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
Have you been?
Do you have any reason to think they're a threat?
Two quick questions. First,
okay. Denver on Rockfin says it's all bullshit. Which is kind of my leaning, is that it's all bullshit and this is just a giant psyop. I mean, they're rolling out a lot of weird shit right now and going ham before Trump gets in office. Is that to set Trump up for something, or is that to get something going before Trump takes office? Your guess is as good as mine. it just, they seem to be, throwing everything at the wall right now and seeing what will stick. And also, man, I did not get off on a too big of a tangent, but I heard somebody talking about what's happening in Romania and Georgia and South Korea, right? The kind of like the government, and even France, government falling apart, and having right, like the South Korean president declaring martial law and all this stuff. And they're like, it's a they're just saying it's interesting all this is happening right now. Like, are they test running all this stuff to to declare martial law here, right? For whatever reason, whatever the reason is, are they test running all of these things to see how people will react and how it will go, and how easily it can be rolled out, so. Peace and Pocket had you had an experience with 2 orbs in Southern California 7 years ago. Okay. The German parliament collapsed today. Oh, and that actually aligns with what I was just talking about. But that one particular show I was listening to where they were talking about the coalescence of all of these government collapses, and kind of government shutdowns and or takeovers and or martial law being declared is an interesting. The timing is interesting. The timing is interesting, considering what they're doing in Israel, considering what they're doing in Syria. Right? They're just going for it. They are going for it. They are, like how much stuff can we get in here before Trump takes office? How much stuff can we start rolling out? And then you've got the drone things, and maybe it's all of it is connected in some way. I don't know. That's funny. Come short, Kate. Okay, real quick, guys. If you like this channel, if you enjoy this channel coming to you for free 99, free 99 every single day, Monday through Friday, and once in a while on the weekends and other times. If you like this channel and you want to support it, that is you should go with that inspiration. If you are inspired to support this channel, there are links in the description box. All the usuals are there: PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, etc. If you would like this channel continue, it would, all the donations are very, very, very helpful in these pressing times. Those of you who support the channel, you know who you are. The people who have supported in the past, and I really appreciate you. And you know who you are. There are quite a few of you. Most of you who are watching the show have supported this channel at one time or another. Okay. Hemcar, you think they're scanning for EMPs? Possibly. I don't know. Yeah, this is I've spent a long time on this story. I did want to cover some other ones, but I don't know if I'm going to have time. Anyways, that's the rundown, which doesn't really, it doesn't lead to anything conclusive. Just the idea that, maybe these stories, all of the stories aren't really, aren't really there yet. So, okay. And then, sorry to continue, keep going on the story. Robert Malone actually had an interesting post, though. I think this is relative. This is a good thing to cover in this, because what are most psyops are used to promote agendas that are kind of fly under the radar, if, pardon the pun. Scanning for Bitcoin. Don't take my Bitcoin. Another federal Psywar campaign in progress, says Robert Malone, based on recent statements from Mayorkas DHS. It's likely the drones in New Jersey are just this, another federal PSYOP to get Congress to pass the Counter UAS Authority Security, Safety, and Reauthorization Act that they are currently are limited and are set, and it's set to expire, I guess. So this act could be passed or repassed. Kathy Hochul called on Congress to pass the Counter UAS Authority Security, Safety, and Reauthorization Act, which would strengthen the FAA's drone oversight and give states more power to investigate the sightings. Conclusion, it's likely that the drones are from the feds, and all this publicity is being used to get the public pressure on Congress to pass the Counter UAS Authority Security, Safety, and Reauthorization Act. Feds are using MSM to pressure on Congress. Resist the urge to believe what you read or hear on state-sponsored media. This is, again, Psywar on American people. Okay. Okay. We've covered a lot of that. A lot. Nuclear. Israel just bombed the ever-living mess out of Syria again, and this was a big one. Stu Peters asked, did Israel just nuke Syria? I don't think this is a nuke, but it's a pretty big bomb. Jesus. And yeah, they're just testing. It's just testing ground for all this weaponry they want to get out there. Colossal explosions have filled the skies in Syria as Israel strikes are said to have targeted military sites in the heaviest strikes on the area for more than a decade, with blasts which registered on earthquake sensors. This from Caitlin Johnson. They are going to deploy, they're ready to deploy autonomous weapon systems in the West Bank. Of all the horrible things Israel and its Western backers do to Palestinians, among the most evil is the way it uses them as lab rats to field test new weapon systems so the rest of the empire can learn how effective they are. No. Oh, Wendy. Yeah. No, pardon my fraud is about Biden, but that is a story. The Hawktua girl rug pulling people for a crypto scam. Yes. That is a thing that happened. And it's, it's unfortunate. Caveat emptor, buyer beware. That there are people out there that do that around crypto. Although sometimes it's, just regular people scamming people. And sometimes I think that there are other three-letter agencies involved in these hacks and scams. Anyways, yeah. So Israel's going to test some of their autonomous weapons on, these bad terrorists. All the women and children they have working for Hamas. Killer robots are the next generation of warfare and are being tested against Palestinians to be then sold around the world. Yeah. And I'm telling you, they already have thousands of these things stockpiled. They have thousands. They already had thousands of these drones made before they decided to push them up in the air, right? They were like waiting for an inflection point, right? They needed a certain number of drones, these large car-sized drones, made, and deployable before they decided to go, you know what? We're going to spring these on people and see what happens. There was internet speculation that the Hawk-Tuah girl was an Andrew Tate plant. Okay, that's interesting. that's a wrinkle I wasn't aware of. Andrew Tate himself being a plant. He seems to be. Andrew Tate seems to be a plant. But maybe he's just, maybe he's just that kind of guy. Maybe that's really him. All right. We're getting to the fraud part, which is short. We've talked about this on Friday, but I mean, apparently Biden is intent on pardoning the worst freaking people around. Biden commuted sentences for scammers who defrauded $5 billion from over 1 million victims. It's the single mass jailbreak of scammers in history. Here are some of the names and stories. Zeke CEO Paul Burke's $900 million Ponzi scam claimed over 1 million working class victims. A decade later, victims of the scam in a town in North Carolina are still suffering. People took out mortgages on their homes and cashed out their life savings. Biden had no sympathy for them, only the CEO. Sounds like something Trump would do. Surely Biden is better. Biden also commuted the sentence to James Fry, a hedge fund manager convicted in the Petters Group $1.9 billion Ponzi scheme, described as one of the largest and most complex Ponzi schemes in U.S. history. Commuted the sentence. Why is he letting all these guys go? Why? I guess it doesn't matter now. They lost, and now they're like, we're going to do the absolute worst stuff we could possibly think of to do. Do it all. My guess is somehow Biden was involved in these scams, and or other people in the government were involved in these scams. That's my guess. And these people got caught, went down there like, no, we'll get you out. We'll get you out. Because Biden is as corrupt as they come. Biden commuted the sentence of Timothy McGinn, accused of defrauding 900 investors of 136 million. This is real. This is a real story, you guys. This is a real story. Timothy McGinn, accused of defrauding 900 investors of $136 million, who had been sentenced to 15 years in prison. Victims included a father of 2 wounded veterans who had been putting aside their money for their expenses. Former CEO Eric Bloom, accused of committing the biggest fraud in Chicago court history in what was described as a $665 million fraud scheme, also got a pass from Biden. Why? I really want to know. I want to know why. I want to know why. I want to know why he got a pass. And I'll say it again. And I'll say it again. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on 1 second. Judy Truitt says, I think he released all who were housebound, not not differentiating, huh? Excuse me. All righty. It keeps going. It keeps on going. Gregory McKnight, who ran a $72 million Ponzi scheme that targeted at least 3,000 investors in every state in the country, got bailed out by Biden. Biden also sprang Nevin Shapiro, sentenced to 20 years in prison for a $930 million Ponzi scheme. Biden also intervened on behalf of former CEO Gregory Podlucky, who ran a bottled water company and had been accused of a $685 million pyramid fraud loan scheme in which the money was spent on jewels and toy trains. Mark Dreyer had been sentenced to 20 years in prison. It just keeps on going, y'all. What the hell? Yes, I read about that, Wendy DeLeese. He pardoned one of the judges who was involved in the Cash for Kids. I'm telling you right now, he's covering. This is, this is paying people back. This is a mafia move. This is not a, I mean, it's political, but this is a mafia type style move. Don't worry, we'll get you out. Don't worry. Mark Dreyer, who had been sentenced to 20 years in prison for a $740 million Ponzi scheme with losses to investors estimated at $400 million, also got a helping hand from the White House. All right. The full list includes 18 names involved in multi-million-dollar scams. Also notorious figures, including Paul DeGerdis, a lawyer accused of manufacturing $7 billion in fake tax deductions. God, I can't speak. And what was described as the biggest tax fraud prosecution ever. No one is above the law, Biden told us, before pardoning his son and executing a mass jailbreak of some of the worst financial scammers and fraudsters in the United States. No president has ever left office bailing out individuals who did so much harm to so many. Yep. Yeah. Okay. That's some horrific shit there. Yeah, AOD, right. This is absolutely like, just do a little time, Paulie. Just do your time. We'll take care of you. We'll get you out of there. You'll be on house arrest for a little bit. We'll get you out of jail. You'll be on house arrest. You have one of them callers. And then when I leave, you'll get a pardon. It'll be fine. There was also a tornado warning in San Francisco this weekend, which is pretty wild. First tornado warning for the area in weird weather news. All right. I think that's about all I can cover today. Go thank some people. Forgot anybody to thank. At this time, don't think so. All right, guys. I think what I'm going to do is I'll be back here tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific time. 12 p.m. Pacific time. Oh, yeah. Joseph Wood, yeah. If you are a global oligarch and you know the oceans are coming, how would you plan for controlling the mayhem to ensue? Oh, yeah. No. Trump isn't. I mean, yeah. Trump is playing coy right now. Trump is playing like, oh, I don't know really what's going on, which is ridiculous. He totally knows what's going on. We're like, oh, surely they know what's happening, but they're not telling us, the government. He knows what's happening. He knows exactly what's happening. Elon Musk is, one of his top henchmen, advisors, right? He's at Mar-a-Lago all the time. You think Elon Musk doesn't know what's happening? Come on now. You bought some honey on Bandcamp? Awesome, Kamashwari Kate. You know what, actually, I want to let you guys know, I'm making t-shirts with the honey, the Sandbloom brand honey t-shirts. They're actually going to be pretty cool looking. They might be done tomorrow. So I'll let you know when those are up on the site. Might actually even be time to ship those out if somebody wants one of those for Christmas. Might be time to make them and send them out for Christmas. If I get them out by the midweek. Okay. Anyways, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, y'all. Till next time, peace. Let me remember how to get out of here. How do I stop this crazy thing? Jane. Peace, y'all.